Hello everybody and welcome back to Benjamin Magnus and Bundeswehr Bob play Civilization 6, and I have no idea what we were doing.
Well, I had just beaten the tar out of, well, maybe that might be a little generous to myself saying that, but I beat up the Chinese and I took one of their cities. It's something I did.
Yeah, I'm beating up France.
Benevolently freed and liberated their people to proper God-brick Greek ways.
Mm-hmm. I'm fighting France, and apparently France has mechanized infantry now.
Well, yeah, they declared war on you, didn't they? Because they're like, hey, it's not cool that you got this city here on my continent.
Yeah, that was the gist of it. I'm not
medic, you go to sleep right now.
Not sure how much I appreciate that, but that's the gist of it. Bundeswehr Bob has joined the game. Resource discovered. Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Let's see. Deal proposed. France.
You say leisure, we say lingerie.
France wants to give me all of their shit if we go to refuse. I'm going to take at least one city. Most unfortunate.
Wait, they put out peace feelers?
They put out peace feelers. They were like, if you go to peace with us, we'll give you every single resource we own. That was...
Yeah... Firaxis, come on.
Yeah. I feel like that's a really bad bargaining position. Like, think about if you were playing, like, EU4, and you were fighting another player, and, you couldn't just pop open the ledger and see how many troops they have and whatnot, and, you thought you were doing all right, and then all of a sudden they come to you with a peace deal and go, hey, Bob, okay, here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you all of my gold. I'm going to give you all of my income for the next 10 years. I'll disband my navy. I'll cut my army in half. And then we just call it even from there. How does that sound? You'd be sitting there going, I think they're fucked.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
So I think I'm going to continue this by just bombardment.
Let me ask you your opinion on something here.
Hit me.
So... And I don't. Maybe this was something that was introduced when I started playing EU4 in your community events and stuff. I don't know. It could be my ego talking, so you have to clarify it. But so in multiplayer games, one of the things that has kind of become a bit of a thing is when there's player-on-player war and combat. Typically, what's been happening is the winning party is imposing restrictions and treaty on the losing players that are outside the scope of whatever the in-game peace deal is.
Yes.
Do you think that's fair?
Do I think that's fair?
Or better yet, the audience watching at home. Do you think that's fair? I'm sure anybody who's watching this on your channel or my channel has at least watched, if not live, then
the backlog.
The backlog of some of that stuff. Like Crimea negotiates for its life.
Themselves.
YouTube that up. Crimea negotiates for its life. It's on my channel. It's 15 glorious minutes of Commissar Roach playing as Crimea just at the end of a war.
That's fucking amazing. I love that. Speaking of which, we should probably reel him into some multiplayer EU4 series at some point in the future. He'd be a good addition. But anyway, off topic there. I don't necessarily have too much of a problem with that because the in-game mechanic was is basically there for you to deal with the AI, and because frankly most of the time, I don't know what the exact statistics are, but I'm going to say a vast majority of the EU4 gameplay that's ever occurred in the history of the game has been single player. The one person versus a bunch of AIs. So the game was very clearly...
That'd be fair. That's fair to say. That's fair to say. Yeah.
The game's pretty clearly designed for one human to play against the AI. So I don't necessarily have too much issue with when you're playing against another player, other things coming into account, because there's emotional gameplay, how that person was conversing with you and how they were, what your relations were, if you're role-playing your nation and they're role-playing their nation. There's more in there with a player on a player than a player with an AI. So I don't necessarily... And there's things you can do with a, like an ad hoc peace deal outside of the scope of the peace deal system. That can really lend some flavor to, a player-on-player peace deal. Like, you give me this land to use as a buffer. This is kind of like my version of, you're going to give me this land outside of the normal peace deal. This is going to be my DMZ. I'm going to build a fort here and nothing else, or something like that. Or, I trade here, you trade here. This is the boundary of where our influence are, that kind of thing. I have no problem with that. That was long-winded.
Well, I'm not. I know you don't have a problem with that, especially if you're the winner. What I'm asking though, if it's fair.
I would say it's going to be based situationally on what's going on and what's asked. Because if you're playing against them and you take a bunch of their cores and then they enforce your religion and you do a whole bunch of other stuff. If you just wreck their country and they go, okay, and now you're going to do this just to try to like grind them into the dust, I feel like that's unfair. Which is why I think it's kind of a situational thing. But there's other situations where I'm sure it would be perfectly fair to say like, I'm going to trade here and you're going to trade here and we're not going to interfere with each other or something like that. Now, what's your opinion on it, Bob?
I think all is fair in love and war. That's what I think. The only thing is that I think that you should be able to rake whatever terms out of somebody that you can enforce.
What I think. Well, especially like in our multiplayer games when you're playing with 12, 15 other peoples with their own agendas spread across, sometimes the entire planet. A lot of times, like, you'll have your own, like, pseudo-AE, if you know what I mean. Like you could do something to another player and, get a normal piece out of them, and everyone else will be like, yeah, they're just, they're playing the game, that's how it works. But there have been times where, like, I know there was a situation where I was like, I'm going to do this, and then a couple other players were like, okay, that's over the line, and that's what I mean by, like, pseudo-AE, where you kind of cross the line, and other players are like, okay, you can't do that. Which I feel is perfectly fine for them to do, because it's kind of, like, I'm sure that's what, leaders of nations would do in a situation like that. All right, I got one city from France. Should I keep pushing the issue?
Did you militarily conquer it? Yeah. Or did you make peace with them already?
Oh, I took it.
Well, I mean, where do they rank stuff? France is.
I'm not sure if Bob is talking about this. The situation we've had recently in my multiplayer games. If there's something else he's talking about, but it has come up a lot in the past 4 weeks.
No, it was just something that I was just thinking about. I've been thinking about recently. It's just like, is this fair? I wonder. In terms of gamefulness and not wanting to completely ruin everybody's fun, I don't think I would purposely try to absolutely destroy someone's country to the point where they can't play it anymore. But I don't have any problem asking for terms outside of 100% peace deal. Because I think that actually adds a little flavor to the game, because if you were to do something like that, that would be, an agreement between those players. And then if they reneged on it, that would be your own, pseudo CB on them. If only there was a way to manufacture that in game.
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of instances where, people who thought they were on friendly terms, find, a spy in their land. It's like, what are you doing over here? No, nothing. I'm just hanging out. I'm not doing anything over here in particular. It's like, yeah, the spy was in my territory. So you could always, go in there and fabricate a claim pretty easily.
No CB war.
That's Penn's stepping away from the monitor. No CB war him. All right, let's try to.
I remember one time we were playing and you'd actually stepped away, and Roach had actually brought it up at one point. I forget who it was he was talking to, but he's like, "I will give you all of my gold if you actually know CB." Because he didn't want it to just be a running joke. He wanted to actually be a thing. Mm-hmm. That might have been the Crimea Crimean War.
That was a fucking amazing situation. And what was it? Oddball who was the other person in that? That accidentally pieced out because he didn't read the message that popped up on the screen.
You had Garsk as the Ottomans.
Oh, Garsk, okay.
And he thought he was the war leader during that.
That was a very good war.
And then Roach was like, "What did you do? What have you done?
Where'd you go?" Oh, that was entertaining. All right, who is this? What is this? Marina Raskova. What are you? I have a great general. Okay.
Is it the greatest general?
I have tremendous generals, Bob. So what do? District, one air unit slot. Do you do anything for passive ability? Passive effect, 5 strength and 1 movement to modern and atomic air units within 2 tiles. Okay, so you do have a adjacency bonus. Tyranny is a good game if anybody out there wants to take a look at it. It is very good, especially if you're into role playing. I mean, like one of the first situations I came across, like some people were like hassling a merchant, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go against the grain because I know the game wants you to be bad, so I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna try to be a good guy. So I kind of stepped in and I was like advocating for the merchant, trying to make it, trying to let the people hassling him off. And then he said something peculiar that I caught. About where he procured his goods, and I knew that it wasn't really possible from other things about the world I had picked up playing the game, that he couldn't have procured his goods from the location he said they were. So like I delved into it a little bit more. I found out he was lying and had just been looting the corpses of my army. I was like, oh.
Did you go back and tell him what for? Or?
Yeah, I was like, fucking hell. He was basically like, well, they weren't fucking using them anymore. And then I questioned more. He was like, I was gonna sell them back to you. It's like, no. You didn't just steal shit from me and then say you're gonna sell it back to me. I made him a slave.
Attaway. That's my dictator in
well,
progress.
What I thought was funny was like, I'm going out of my way to be nice to this guy, and it's like, no, the game doesn't want me to be nice to him. He's being a dickhole. Let's see. No, not form a core. Already did that once. You're gonna move up here. Start firing machine guns into the city. I might just burn down another city for poops and giggles.
Well, is there an overall... Yeah, there's world rankings. So score. So you're in the lead with 548. It's like I'm second with 530. Then we've got China at 433 and then France at 403.
Gotcha.
In overall score, there's a show details here. So let's see what this is actually. What is the breakdown here? Where is the score coming from? So like Ben has score from 88 from civics, 252 from empire, 27 from great people, 8 from religion, 110 from technology. Jesus Christ, I think you're the most technologically advanced man in the world.
I'm building a spaceport.
Oh, Jesus, Russia is technologically backwards compared to you.
They still got knights.
You have 65 from wonders compared to 5 for me from wonders.
Rome is just like... Rome is kind of like the beach, and it is like Monument Beach in season 1 of Futurama, where it's just where all the world's, wonders are stored. Pretty sure that's season 1. I feel like I'm going to accidentally form cores occasionally because the form core button is right next to the ranged attack button.
I've formed actually a few armies now at this point. I've got 2 armies standing now.
Bob's got 2 standing armies. Bob's armies are growing larger.
They are. So, which I actually haven't compared this yet. So I have 87 strength.
I don't have a lot of
military
units.
These both have. Well, let me tell you about my military tradition in Sparta. So 70 versus 87. So what's the bonus then of having an army?
I heard a rumor that there used to be another race of Greeks that existed in the world.
We don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so I've only got 17 extra combat strength on top of my other. So my default, just like out of the box infantry soldier, is 70 strength. Now I've got an army, 87 strength. That doesn't seem like a lot of benefit for essentially losing 2 units.
No, it's really not, because basically 2 units would be 140 combat strength, and then if you combine them together, the 87. So you're net losing a lot. It's just that individual unit is stronger. And I'm assuming
I could see
the balance there is because you can't stack units up on top of each other like you used to be able to in other Civ games. That you
right. So the benefit then maybe if you're trying to fight through like a mountain pass, you could form up an army and have more hitting power.
Make yourselves a Schwerpunkt.
Schwerpunkt.
Actually, picked up Transport Fever this morning too on recommendation from some of my viewers, and it's a little funny, but it's a good game. I might actually record some of that later today.
What is Transport Fever?
It's a sequel to Railroad Fever, I think, which is basically like Railroad Tycoon. So it's basically like Railroad Tycoon, only you also get to mess with transport of via ships and planes and roads. It's like a transport management simulator kind of thing. Which is, I mean, I love Railroad Tycoon 2. I never really liked Railroad Tycoon 3, but I mean that was this, kind of scratches my tycoon bone. You ever play any tycoon games?
I did not.
I see. I like one of my first games I had on like our Power Mac, Power PC.
I think the closest I ever got was I built this this vodka distillery in Russia one time, in Victoria too.
I heard about that. It was glorious. 100,000 workers.
That factory was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had
a
theme park tycoon growing up, and that was like one of the only games we had on our computer. So I have a tycoon itch that I feel like scratching occasionally.
I think my first Windows game I'd ever played was actually Descent.
Descent, is that the one where you're like flying around a spaceship, shooting up stuff?
It's you're in like a it's kind of like a spaceship. It's like a little fighter craft, a one-man fighter craft. Mm-hmm. And the whole premise is that there was an alien like computer virus that had infected like these mining drones in all these mines that this private corporation had a hold of. So you're a mercenary is what you were, and you were tasked with just like essentially going in these mines, blowing up the reactors, and then like leaving. Mm-hmm. That was your whole like shtick.
Yeah, I have played that. I had that myself.
I actually bought a what was it called? It was like a remastered version or something like that on Steam not too long ago. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was long ago now. I tried doing a little bit of a series on that, but I was so small, no one cared. Tiny channel.
Bob's channel is growing larger.
Still am a tiny channel. Who am I kidding?
Well, but technically, I'm still a tiny channel too. I mean, I'm not even at like small fry levels compared to the interwebs these days.
The first computer I ever had, though, was a Commodore 64. And that was when I was like really young.
The first computer we had was an Apple on it. Of some sort. I don't remember exactly.
You had to play Breakout.
Yeah. My dad bought a pack of like war games for him to play that I enjoyed. It was M4 Tank Simulator. I think there was one just called B-17, where you were a bomber pilot. Basically, it was 2 mini games like slapped together, where you were your B-17 crew basically. You picked your bomb load and how much fuel you wanted to take, and then if fighters attacked, you just had to hit the trigger at the right time to shoot them down. And then when the came time to bomb, you were the bombardier, and you had to
find your way to the grocery store.
Account for wind speed and all that stuff, and try to hit your targets. Now that was basically it. Then there was U-boat, I mean, yeah, games these days really knew how to name themselves. And there's one other, I can't remember what it was called though. But it was just some petty, little tiny war game things. Have globalization civic. Build 2 aerodromes, build 2 broadcast centers, kill a fighter. That's never gonna happen. Nobody else has planes.
Oh, Japanese missionary showed up to Eritrea again.
Kill them.
I don't have God combat available over
right.
here. This is on your continent.
You're godless.
Well, I'm not godless. I mean, it's just people don't want to embrace God brick.
So you're coming over telling everybody the benefits of God brick, and nobody bought on.
Nobody believes me.
All right, Reims has fallen. I think. Yeah. All right. I'd really rather just burn this city down. Raise the city. All right, it's gone.
New battleship that I turned this wooden ship into a battleship. You get to just sleep. Because there are no wars going on.
Trade doodle, increase trade route capacity. City-states have quests. Buenos Aires.
Catherine, I haven't fought anybody for like hundreds of years now at this point. Well, not quite hundreds of years, but like decades.
Fucking trade route plundered. What is over here? Where's my battleship? There it is. Go back. There's somebody over here being mean.
So I've got a military engineer. What can I do with this guy?
Wow. Build a camp or something like that?
Yeah, but so like... This isn't a paradox game where they just stand out in the open and just then take attrition just for being there. I mean... So that would certainly make things
those
more
are your
complicated.
units. I was like, what are these units on my coastline doing? Not my coastline, my border. Fucking Bobbyan.
All right, don't mind the artillery and infantry. They're your friends. I've got a bunch of trade routes available. I need to use those. I need to start building more trade units. I need to trade more.
Theater square. We're gonna build a theater square in this bitch. This looks like a very theater-iest place. Yeah, right next to the military camp. That seems like a great idea.
So, can you only upgrade a unit once, and then that's it?
I don't know why. Did you run into a situation where that you should be able to, and it's not letting you?
Well, how do I civilopedia this motherfucker? I would think that I'd be able to upgrade a field cannon into an artillery piece, right?
Nope.
Upgrades to machine gun. Oh,
nope.
Okay.
Goes differently. Some guns turn into some things, and some guns are different things.
So what's a pikeman? How is a pikeman upgraded into anti-tank crew?
Penetration power?
Okay. I don't get it, but okay.
Got an observation. Oh, that thing's adorable. I just built an observation balloon.
It's not something that comes to mind immediately when I think of
I like how there's no intermediary between pikeman and anti-tank gun.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like there's some room to flesh out the unit tree a little.
Mm-hmm. No, you can plant woods.
Yep.
What does that actually do for you, though?
What does woods give you? Production and food, it looks like. 1 production, 2 food. So, I mean, if you have an empty spot, it's just grassland with nothing on it, it gives you an extra production.
Well, I think we'll just build farms instead of woods. We'll do. Oh, kind of a fun little thing to think about with regards to like vegetarianism.
Mm-hmm.
So check this, right? So currently, like in at least the United States and probably some other industrialized Western countries, I'd imagine. So like cow farming takes up a lot of space and produces greenhouse gases, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
It's generally considered, poor for the environment, as a whole, as an aggregate when it contributes to the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm a little quiet. Let me actually turn my mic up.
I follow.
There we go. There we go. I should be sounding better now. Okay, so I forget who it was. I'm gonna have to dig up the source on it, but somebody was looking at if you turn the entire population into vegetarians, for instance, the amount of land that you'd have to like put aside to be able to grow enough of the food in order to sustain everybody would be like a stupid amount, like times increase on top of like what cow farming or pig farming is currently, just to grow all the food. It would be more detrimental to the environment than what it is now.
Wow.
Because you're talking about clear cutting like shit tons of woods right now in order to make that happen.
You don't want to accept this deal. Okay. Well then, go fuck yourself. I told her to give me
French?
2 cities, and she said no. So I was like, okay, bye.
Well, you've taken a city already. I mean, from her.
It was that one, and then I said you're gonna give me the next one too.
Well, I mean, is there anything stopping you from just marching across France?
No, not really.
Well, burn, baby, burn.
I even got observation balloons heading across the sea now to attach to my arty, so they have more range.
There's a Chinese naturalist just wandering around.
He's looking for a place to plant a flag. Building a spaceport adjacent to Christ the Redeemer.
That's...
God damn it, the barbarians are trading the shit out of my stuff.
I can learn about combustion and build tanks.
Oh my god, France still has crossbowmen. I'm gonna kill them. Who knew shooting crossbows with a cannon would kill them?
Nah, sounds like a myth.
Shoot you. What are you down to? He's almost dead. Can you get over here? Nope.
Not 100% what I'm supposed to be able to do with this military engineer. Silvopedia, give me answers. You're a military engineer. There you are. Okay. Medieval era support unit requires an armory to produce, can construct roads, forts, and airstrip improvements. Oh, interesting. Did I build an airport anywhere? I did.
Do I have one of those?
I have no planes for it. Just like we just built an airport. It's just like, yep, this is our airport. Where are all the planes? What's that? What's an airplane?
How do I fly? So you are going to build a financial center on the coastline, so it has a beautiful view of the sea.
So beautiful. Such wow.
I don't know where those goddamn barbarian ships were coming from. So I share a border with you now.
They're just touching.
Yes. And you've got like a medic standing there with a briefcase.
It's a medical supply bag.
Medical supply bag. Let's see. Almost got robotics researched.
What's a robot?
It's 1862. You should be like asking what is electricity.
We have invented the light bulb.
Barbarians approach our city. Oh, Catherine. She's just getting. I guess.
But I think I've mentioned it before. I think I'd like to see in Civilization as a tech penalty for being ahead on things.
Yeah, so that you can't sprint a super sprint. Like you can do it. It'll just like take you long.
Or maybe that's just the paradox elitist coming out in me. I don't know. I'm sorry. Having discovered like paradox games back when I was like in high school just ruined me.
Yeah.
I can't enjoy anything.
It's like this would be more fun if it was more like a paradox game. All right, everybody just heal up, and then we'll go kill some French. Okay, let's see here. What can you work on? You can go over here and punch the ground right
I think there's been more details on the new Hoi 4 DLC since we last recorded this.
There have been. From what I read, is they're implementing a tiered system for puppets, so it's not just before you were either like you were a sovereign nation, you were a puppet state that basically didn't have really much to do with your overlord. You just, you know, you were like in a forced alliance basically, or you didn't exist. And now there's like 4 levels of like puppet status, each with like a slightly different relationship status. I mean, you know, I whenever I think about stuff like that, I always come back to the same point I usually have is, yeah, that's nice, but there's still broken shit that you haven't addressed. That's generally what ends up, whenever they give me more information, I'm like, okay, I appreciate you putting forth the effort to put that into the game, but what about the battle planner?
Just go straight at them.
And we're actually out of time, Bob.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Well, dang.
Yeah.
Well, we'll continue that conversation in the next episode, then.
Indeed, we will. Okay, everybody. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check out Bob or Ben's End, depending on who you're watching right now. And we will see all you guys next time.
See you later.